Could Marcus Peters be making a return to Baltimore to join the Ravens for their playoff run? We will discuss that and more coming up in just a few moments here on this edition of Ravens Rundown. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Folks, we are another day closer to game day. In fact, we get it started a little early this week with a Saturday matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And on game days, you know how it is. We spam R in the chat to show our love for the Baltimore Ravens. If you're ready for game day and a Ravens win this weekend, get in that chat right now. Spam R for that Ravens win. I want to see at least 200 R's in the chat to show your love for the Baltimore Ravens, and we'll get started with today's show. Bleacher Report NFL insider Alex Ballentine is suggesting that the Ravens should make a move to sign Marcus Peters, bring him back to the Baltimore Ravens for the playoff run. Peters spent most of this season with the Las Vegas Raiders before being cut back in November and is available for any team to sign. What about coming back to Baltimore? Here's more from Ballentine. The Ravens have one of the best rosters, but mounting injuries in the secondary are a concern heading into the final week of the season. Brandon Stevens and Kyle Hamilton were both out for the game, and Marlon Humphrey and Daryl Worley both left the game with injuries. Marcus Peters is certainly familiar with Baltimore. The Ravens traded for him during the 2019 season. He started 12 games for the Raiders this season before they cut him. He could be the best available depth piece. Now, as the Ravens make this playoff push, as they've already clinched the number one seed in the AFC, I look at Marcus Peters could be a great insurance policy for this Baltimore Ravens team to be able to put their best foot forward. When we talked about this a month or so ago, the Ravens didn't necessarily need Marcus Peters, as all the depth was showing. But with the way these injuries have stacked up, this might not be a bad plan for Baltimore here, just to give them that little extra juice of sorts as they get ready for this playoff push. Peters, a three-time Pro Bowler, played in this system under Mike Macdonald previously, so he could step right in right away and be good to go from the get-go with this Ravens team. This actually could make sense with the circumstances the Ravens are in of needing some potential help and a guy that's familiar with how the Ravens do things here. You plug and play right away with Marcus Peters. This actually makes a lot of sense. So what do you guys think? Our pinned comment today. Should the Ravens bring back Marcus Peters? Weigh in the comment section. Tell me what you think. Y for yes, N for no. If Baltimore should make a run at bringing Marcus Peters back, weigh in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Promo code CLNS for a $100 deposit match. Choose two or more players in any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points, passing yards, receiving yards, rushing yards, and more. This week on Prize Picks, I'm still waiting on the Ravens Prize Picks because we need to figure out if they're going to play their starters or not. We don't know yet. So in the meantime, I went to Prize Picks and chose a couple ones that stood out to me, in particular with wide receivers in receiving yards. CeeDee Lamb had a big game for the Dallas Cowboys last week, and his Prize Picks number is 99.5. I'd be surprised if CeeDee Lamb does that again. I expect a letdown this week. I got him going less than that. And then Michael Pittman Jr., the Colts taking on the Texans. Pivotal game there between those two AFC South teams. I like Pittman to have less than 74.5 receiving yards. Let's say I put $20 down and both those hit. That's going to turn into $60 on Prize Picks. Play along with me. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Promo code CLNS. A $100 deposit match is available on your first entry. Use promo code CLNS to play along today. Link is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, proud partner of Ravens Rundown and Chat Sports. Now, when I look at the Baltimore Ravens and this possibility, John Harbaugh has done such a good job with this Ravens team and the staff in particular, what Mike Macdonald's done with that defense, Todd Monken's done with the offense, that if he wants a guy like Marcus Peters, all he has to do is tell Eric DeCosta, I want him, and he'll go get him. He has that type of pull. If he wants him there, if they feel like they need Marcus Peters, this can be done like that, a snap of finger tomorrow. What type of player would you be getting out of Marcus Peters. It's very evident he's not the same player that he was several years ago. You're not getting the three-time Pro Bowl caliber player. But in a secondary where Brandon Stevens is starting right now, more on that in just a second, Rockison hasn't lived up to the hype. There could still be a potential role somewhere for Marcus Peters within this defense. The numbers from PFF of the 12 games he played with the Raiders before he was ultimately cut, his coverage grade was okay, 71.3. Tackling grade, not so hot. Run defense grade, just kind of mid there, 50.7. Overall grade, near 70 there on that front. So maybe you're not getting the player that he was, Pro Bowl caliber, but still has something left to offer in a backup role that for a few weeks, just this run to the playoffs, could make sense for this Baltimore Ravens team. Look at the depth chart right now. And as you can see, a lot of guys are banged up at the moment. And some key contributors, might I add, with Marlon Humphrey there, one of your starting corners. Brandon Stevens on the other side, he's banged up. Kyle Hamilton, who has been arguably the best player in this Ravens defense this year, he's a little banged up as well. Hearing John Harbaugh speak on Monday, though, in his press conference to the media, he did say when talking about the injury report and where the Ravens are at on the injury bug right now that he feels like they're going to be okay when it comes to playoff time, that there wasn't any major concerns. And you're looking at potentially 2 weeks off for these guys to heal up and recover. But the thing with Peters, it's not even necessarily about the injuries right now. It's about what could stack up with that playoff game. And having a veteran with experience that's been on some big stages before could make sense just for these next few weeks. And I know some of you are going to say with Marcus Peters, like, hey, there's some character concerns and all that, and things didn't end well with Las Vegas. I'm just asking Marcus Peters, like, hey, can you hold it together to go win a Super Bowl? I don't need that much from him. I just need him for potentially 3-4 weeks. I think that's not asking a ton out of Marcus Peters, if we're going to be honest. What is the biggest weakness for the Ravens heading into the playoffs? Is it the injury concerns with the secondary? Is it something else that stands out to you? Weigh in the comment section. Let us know what you think that biggest weakness is for Baltimore. Folks, we are literally two subscribers away from 14.5 thousand subscribers here on Ravens Rundown. And you better believe we are going to be all over this run to the Super Bowl here on the channel. From here on out, we're going to have watch parties for every single game for your Baltimore Ravens the rest of the way in the postseason. From this weekend against the Pittsburgh Steelers all the way through potentially to Super Bowl Sunday. Subscribe now. Join the flock for this Super Bowl run each and every day. Daily coverage here on Ravens Rundown. Subscribe now for free. Help us reach our next milestone of 14.5K subs. 2 away from getting there. Subscribe now. You'll be glad you did. Bottom line is this for the Baltimore Ravens. You have a championship caliber team right now. This team has the makings of a Super Bowl championship type roster. You don't want to screw this up, right? This is a golden opportunity in front of you. I would hate to be looking back, a few weeks from now and saying, man, the injuries really caught up this team. If they would have just had a Marcus Peters, they could have salvaged the whole thing. You don't want the train to fall off the tracks, that injuries catch up or whatever it may be, and not have that guy you can step up and depend on. Marcus Peters might be the difference in this team, winning a championship and coming up short. Look at the AFC, folks. We already know the Ravens got the number 1 seed and all that. But when you look at the teams in the American Football Conference, there's nobody that scares me. Nobody. If I'm the Baltimore Ravens, I'm feeling very confident going into this postseason that they can beat anybody anywhere, and they beat the best team in the NFC, the San Francisco 49ers, a couple weeks ago handily. This is a great chance. The Ravens have to capitalize. Can't squander this one away. What do you think of the Ravens roster heading into the postseason? I think this is pretty dang good. I'd give it an A myself. Give me a grade what you think of the Ravens roster. Let us know, and we'll see you next time right here on Ravens Rundown.